The first part is Ngannou said in an interview yesterday that the UFC sent him an email on his way to the Honda Center that they're going to be sued after having talks with Nikisa Badarian, who's Jake Paul's promoter. And the conversation was about boxing, apparently. So the UFC basically found this out, however they did, and they intend on initiating a lawsuit against Ngannou. And then just kind of like...
No, hold on. Okay. I don't want to go any farther than that, because I want to ask you this, Josh. What do you think of people?
You don't want to ask Podcast Dave, because
you want to ask Podcast Dave. Okay, Podcast Dave. What do you think? That you talk about a WWE move.
Yeah.
About you're sending an email to a guy who's on his way to fight for your promotion, and you're sending him an email about getting sued? What does the timing seem correct here to you?
You want him to lose, obviously.
Yeah.
Bill, add on top of everything else, you're right? It's just pressure.
Yeah.
Does it not all stack up to we're doing everything we can? I used to say that, how many, I talked to you about it, how many times I used to tell guys when they go to Japan, they're fighting in pride, I said, don't eat the bento box, dude. Don't eat the sushi.
Yeah.
Okay. And I know that just sounds, but I just knew too many people that got sick from it because if you're not
fish
feeling
was
well,
a couple days old.
If you're not feeling well, we don't care as long as our guy wins. And sometimes promotions do things that you look and go, that's just not right. And I'm not, all promotions do it. I'm not just blaming the UFC, but if you're looking at, Bellator's had theirs. I'm not saying it was with Scott Coker, but when Bjorn Rebney, he did all kinds of bullshit. Okay, so that's just the way it is, man.
Yeah.
Okay, it comes down to who the leader is at times, but that's just, you don't do that. But these are the things that happen behind the scenes that you look and you go, wow, did you really have to try to get that low to try to get things the way you want? You wanted to try to take his mind and put it that far? Come on.
Well, I mean, my next question is, they would probably just be suing the manager, whoever was reaching out to him. That's one.
Well, he could be named on it, but it doesn't mean they're going to go after him.
Yeah. I don't know how you would go after Francis if someone reached out to him. And
if he was in negotiations.
Yeah. I don't even know if they would have gone that far, to be honest. Who's his manager? Isn't it Markel? Is that his manager?
Yeah, it's from CAA.
Yeah. So, I think his name is Markel. Something Markel, I think, or Markel something. Anyways, I think that people were like, last weekend we said, look, he should stay in the UFC and just work it out and figure it out. I think that ship sail. I think it's done.
I think so too.
I believe the relationship is completely done. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to release him. Someone said today that they released him, or they're going to release him.
No.
Yes. Somebody said today, I was reading something.
No.
Said that they're going to release him. They're going to let him go.
They're going to let their heavyweight champion.
I think
they're going to release him.
They're going to let it be done, John.
I don't think so.
I don't even know if he has that one fight. I know the contracts normally work out a certain way, like we have talked about forever now. It's like it usually extends 3 fights or 1 fight at least at the minimum.
Yeah.
But I obviously this contract seems very different than whatever it is.
Well, he's been under contract past. He had a 40-month contract with 8 fights, I believe. He's, obviously been like farther than that as far as the time, and that's based upon him turning fights down and things like that. But he's already come out and said, yes, if he wins this fight, he owes them another fight then, even though this is the last fight on his contract. So that part is, he would have to sit out for a year for him to be completely free. So is that what he's going to do?
Sitting out, but here's the thing, sitting out, he would have to, if they offered him a fight, he'd have to take it.
No.
See, that's the thing in their contract, in most contracts, in my contract for the UFC, is if every time they offer you a fight and you turn it down, it extends your.
But understand, that's your fight contract that you signed for. He didn't sign for this part. This is an extension due to the heavyweight championship and the fact that he's the title holder. There's a 1 fight extension or 1 year. If he does not take that fight, it doesn't extend out any farther. It's not part of his original contract.
That's what's weird to me, though, is that they've always had that in their contract. Like in my contract, it said every time I fought for the title, if I defended my title or I fought for the title, it extended my contract 3 fights. So yes, mine was 3 fights. So it was every time, then it would extend. So what it was is like it always got me to have 3 fights left on my contract. It doesn't extend it 3 more fights on top of the 3 more fights. Yeah, it wasn't like 6 fights.
You're sitting at a
6
3,
and then 9, and then as long as you're always sitting at a 3, it always extended me 3. Now, someone was telling me, I think with like DC, it was like it extended him 1 fight every time, but he couldn't turn fights down. That's normally in their contract also, is that if you turn a fight down, it just continues to extend.
But he was still under contract that he had fights. He had signed a contract, and I'm not saying, well, I know exactly what DC signed for, but we'll say he signed a 6-fight contract, and he's the champion on his 3rd fight. He still has 3 fights to go. So all of the language that's in the contract about turning a fight down, that will extend your contract, they can't extend it out any more than what it is. He owes them based upon winning that title fight and retaining his championship fight. Since that was the last fight on his contract, he owes them 1 fight or 1 year. If they offer him a fight and he turns it down and he goes that 1 year, they cannot hold him to that contract. It's over.
That's interesting. I've never heard that. I've never heard that. Yeah, that's interesting to me. But I mean, overall, what's that?
I was going to say, it's just Dana White's. Dana White always says Vince couldn't have written it better himself. And in this case, Vince couldn't have written it better himself. Francis did all the odds stacked against him, plus an email with a threat of a lawsuit, and still came out and got the W.
He wasn't happy.
No. Yeah, obviously not. He didn't put the belt around him. So he left. He left early. Didn't even go up in the cage, correct?
I actually saw media people actually saying Dana needs to grow up. Oh, really? Yeah,
they won't be invited back, by the way.
Exactly.
Those guys.
The whole thing.
Let me give you guys a history lesson. This is what happens. This is what the MMA media originally, the Sherdogs and all the other ones that were around before, they are all gone.
They got spanked.
They got shafted because 1 or 2 reporters wrote something negative. He's like, you know what? Screw you guys. You guys aren't welcome anymore to their. And then they started using mainstream media. It all worked out for Dana.
Yep.
So,
what's what I find really odd
for him
is usually in scenarios like this, what I've noticed is Dana will do like an interview with Brett Okamoto or Megan Olivier, like it'll be some sort of like YouTube interview where be very clear the questions are all like kind scripted for Dana to be in Dana's favor. And it happened with the Cyborg thing. Remember when he said he's out of the Cyborg business? He sat down with Megan Olivier, but he's opted to do a Q&A from fan questions on ESPN tomorrow, and I just think that's the worst thing you can do because it's going to be.
No, he'll pick out the fan questions that he's willing to answer.
Yeah,
that's the thing. Like they'll have the fan questions there. He'll go read through them, and then he'll pick them out.
I just can't imagine how 99% of them are not going to be, why did you not rather feel right, Francis?
Yeah. I mean, there probably will be one of those, but he won't answer all of them. He'll answer one that fits the narrative that he's going to try to push, which is smart on his part. As a promoter, he's doing what he needs to do to make sure his company makes money.
Well, there was a lot of people, he didn't do the press conference. I don't blame him for not doing a press conference.
He hasn't done press conferences before. We're just making a big deal about it because Francis Ngannou didn't get the belt strapped around him, and he's having problems with Francis right now. He's missed press conferences before, you guys. Calm down.
Yeah. I mean, that's not a big thing. But as far as lack of respect, he should have put the belt around Ngannou. Or put it over
especially knowing that he
shoulder.
was there. Especially knowing that he was
Yes. Yeah. If he was not there, of course not.
Yeah.
But if he's there, that's part of his responsibilities as the president